The Ukrainian ambassador to South Africa, Liubov Abravitova, says South Africa can use diplomatic leverage with Russia to assist refugees who want to leave safely. She says there are people in the country who are without food, water and supplies. She joins me now for a conversation on those aspects. And Ambassador, last time you and I spoke, you were, I would say, a bit optimistic about what South Africa can achieve if we were to put our minds to it, to the extent of saying that even President Cyril Ramaphosa could potentially play a role as mediator, over and above calling for mediation. A lot has transpired since then, including South Africa abstaining from that vote in the UN General Assembly on that resolution that was calling for Russia to withdraw its forces. Now, I would suggest that there are two ways of looking at it. Abstaining could potentially be a good thing in that, you know, if South Africa is to mediate, you don't want to be seen to have taken a side, perhaps, I don't know, suggesting that. But also the other way of looking at it is that actually South Africa, by not taking a side in that vote, actually sided with Russia. What's your take? Can South Africa still play that role, given what has transpired since last time you and I spoke?
Today. Yes, I am absolutely sure, and I would not work as a diplomat if I would not believe in diplomacy. So I'm sure that there is still a possibility for peaceful resolution of this war with assistance and the pressure of foreign countries. I'm sure that you already saw a lot of comments about the vote that you're talking about. And I don't want to cite, to quote again the
All right, we seem to have lost the line to the ambassador there. I don't know what happened. The connection just went dead all of a sudden. We'll see if we can re-establish the connection. I think we have her back on the line. Let's see if we can continue. Ambassador, I don't know if you can pick up from the point you were making. You were saying that you wouldn't work in diplomacy as a diplomat if you didn't believe in diplomacy. There's still an opportunity to end this conflict through negotiation. And then you were about to go into the issue of South Africa abstaining from that vote in the UN General Assembly.
Yes, I just told that we already saw about a lot of quotes of Archbishop Tutu regarding the neutrality. And it is what it is. The decision of each sovereign country, it's the decision of the country. I will not comment on this. I do believe that we have a very strong perspectives, Ukraine and South Africa, for the future. I believe that we are friendly countries, and I believe that now we have to address the cases of emergency that we have on the ground to save innocent people, to save all of them, Ukrainians and foreigners who are still in Ukraine under attack of Russia. So I believe that the diplomacy still can work and must work. This is the only way out of this war.
Given where we are at the moment, how do you foresee South Africa playing a role? Would the first priority need to be in assisting to secure humanitarian corridors? We are seeing the work of the NGO Gift of the Givers already saying that they will be sending a team to assist there. Should that be the first priority now, given where we are, or should the focus for South Africa be to actually use diplomatic channels and what leverage is there between South Africa and Russia to actually say, let's see if we can sit around a table and speak?
Let me acknowledge the gift of the givers and their effort and their willingness to help to all innocent people who are suffering now because of this war. I really appreciate it. Secondly, we desperately need these green corridors. I'm in touch both with foreigners, with Ukrainians, with their relatives here and in other countries. And the only thing we would want now is just to have a possibility to move them out of these dangerous places. Some of them didn't have food for a couple of days. They don't have electricity. They don't have water. We are doing from South Africa as much as we can. Ukrainian authorities cannot control those areas, and there must be a ceasefire at the end of the day to get people moved. So we need all the efforts of each particular country. Every voice matters now. Every voice can save the life of people.
I see from the reporting of Karin du Plessis on Daily Maverick that your efforts have been about assisting in evacuating a number of Africans who are still in Ukraine, including South African students, whatever number is still there that remain in Ukraine. In a moment, I'll ask you about Ukrainians in South Africa and their predicament. But let's start there. How's that effort going in terms of trying to assist with the further evacuation of various, African nationals who are in Ukraine, including South Africans?
Yeah, we have quite a number of foreigners, including Africans, and including Latin Americans, and including Asian people. Especially what is my concern big about is Sumy, which is in the northeast of Ukraine. It's very close to Russia, maybe 150 kilometers from there. It's heavily shelled by Russians. Those people are sitting in the bunkers and they don't have access to basic needs. We are still having a connection with them through different sources. I maybe will say not popular thing, but the responsibility those foreign citizens is laying down on the representatives of these countries in Ukraine or in Russia. I would need to be responsible for Ukrainian citizens in my countries of responsibility. I just think that in times of war, every person, every organization have to save lives. That's what we are doing now. That's why I am in touch with these people. But I don't want these heroical stories. And frankly speaking, I didn't see the article that you are quoting now. We are just trying now to work with several organizations. Here in South Africa, there is an organization called We Are South Africa. In Ukraine, we found several churches that might be able to provide the basic needs like water and food for those children. Then we are in touch with Caritas, the Ministry of, we call it Religious and Minorities of Ukraine. The head of this ministry is in touch with me also. So we're trying to make some coordination to avoid those people to move without the legal or governmental or official authorization, because it is dangerous.
And let's talk then about Ukrainians in South Africa. And I see from the same article by Karin du Plessis that there's a unique concern that may not immediately rise to the surface if you think about, all that is happening around this conflict. But I see you are quoted there as raising the plight of Ukrainians who were on holiday, on vacation in various locations, including South Africa, who now find themselves in a situation where they can't go home and their visas are expiring and those kind of things. What's the situation there, and how can government, the South African government, assist in ensuring that their stay is normalized one way or another, and even perhaps they are joined by some of their family members who are still in Ukraine?
Yes, we did submit the official request through the Department of International Relations and Cooperation, requesting for this. This is a type of humanitarian assistance in terms of this big crisis or wars or catastrophes. You might see already that a lot of countries around the globe are taking the decisions and being actually sometimes even criticized by their own people that they now are making themselves available to receive Ukrainians without any particular or any complicated documentary procedures that these people can legally stay on the territories of this country. So we know that Ukrainians travel a lot, and obviously in all 10 countries of my region of responsibility, we do have Ukrainians there and there, in Namibia, in Mauritius, in South Africa. So this is not only South African government that we requested for this type of facilitation. We are still waiting for official response in order to inform our citizens on their legal possibilities to proceed. Yeah.
Two quick questions before I let you go, Ambassador. You are from the area of Odessa, if I'm not mistaken, in Ukraine. In the last while, we've been seeing President Volodymyr Zelensky talking about Russia preparing to move into Odessa. I imagine you are much more in touch with the situation in that area. What can you say? Is this really the next front that the conflict will move on the ground in Ukraine?
Unfortunately, it is. I cannot predict what is in the mind of one person who already damaged all the security of all the world, and who is threatening with a nuclear disaster to all the world now. I cannot predict. I can see the facts on the ground. And I'm even not operating through the facts that I receive from ordinary people. But when I see that the general consulates are deciding to move out of Odessa to neighboring countries, that gives me a feeling that something is going to happen, that there are some signals. First of all, and secondly, I believe that this city is strategically very important and always been. So this is most probably the next battle that we are going to face.
And lastly, Ambassador, in terms of your efforts to make these formal requests and get these conversations going with your South African counterparts, how's that going? If I heard you correctly in our last conversation, I think you were even trying to get audience at the highest possible level of the South African government. Are you being given audience? Are your requests being acknowledged? Is there any conversation happening about the variety of ways that you foresee South Africa playing a role in either ameliorating the situation for people affected by the fighting, or in trying to move us forward towards trying to get some kind of dialogue going?
I did request. My requests were acknowledged. I don't have any feedback as of now. Unfortunately, cannot inform you on anything.
All right, Ambassador, thank you for your time speaking to me here on eNCA. That's Ambassador Liubov Abravitova, who is the ambassador of Ukraine to South Africa, just talking to us about the latest in the situation in her country, as well as efforts to try and get South Africa to play a bigger role in trying to move the situation forward, at least get some kind of a conversation going. We've been calling for dialogue, and she believes that actually we should be taking the lead in as best as we can to get that dialogue started.